Welcome back. It's time now for our top 4 in 4 headlines. It's where I count down the top 4 stories of the week in 4 minutes. These stories range from politics, crime, studies, and more. Let's begin. First up, if you plan on flying out of the area, you may want to stay clear from Delta or Southwest Airlines, at least until they figure out why thousands of flights were canceled. Flight cancellations and delays are extending into a 4th day for Delta Airlines passengers. The airline says some were due to the computer outage from earlier this week, and others were caused by bad weather. Delta has canceled more than 2,100 flights so far this week, and not to mention all the 300 delays. Meanwhile, Delta isn't providing details on what it calls a small fire that broke out at its data center, a result of the electrical problem that caused the worldwide computer problem. And from one airline to the next, the cancellation of more than 2,000 Southwest Airlines flights due to a computer outage last month will cost the carrier an estimated $54 million. Dallas-based Southwest blamed a router failure. While Southwest did not provide a specific cost of the outage, the company said it expects its cost per seat mile to rise by about 2%. For headline number 3, we head to Florida, where investigators are trying to determine why a 73-year-old woman was shot and killed during a class about police procedures. The police chief says he is taking full responsibility after one of his officers shot and killed a woman during a police shoot, don't shoot demonstration. Chief Tom Lewis said Thursday during a news conference that he is 100% accountable. At a Citizens Academy meeting on Tuesday night, Officer Lee Cole mistakenly shot 73-year-old Mary Knowlton during the exercise immediately after the shooting. The police chief says authorities secured the scene and called the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to investigate. He says it should take the agency between 2 to 4 weeks to complete its probe. The officer who shot the woman has been investigated before. He was once accused of using excessive force with his police dog and resigned from another police agency back in 2013 for failing to satisfactorily complete an agency field training program. Mary Knowlton was a 73-year-old retired librarian. The officer has been placed again on administrative leave. Headline number 2 has to do with health care. About 9 in 10 Americans now have health insurance, more than at any time in history, that according to the Associated Press. But progress is incomplete and the future is uncertain. Quality is still uneven and costs are rising. But here's where the politicians stand. Hillary Clinton would build on President Barack Obama's health care law, with one exception, a tax on generous coverage that she'd repeal. Donald Trump would repeal Obamacare, but a recent study found his plan would make 18 million people uninsured. Trump's campaign has said he may revisit major health care programs once in the White House. Here's why this issue matters. Patients from all over the world come to America for treatment. U.S. research keeps expanding humanity's ability to confront disease, but the U.S. still spends far more than any advanced country, and its people are not much healthier. The healthcare overhaul did not solve the nation's problem with costs, but the good news is no one can be denied coverage anymore because of a pre-existing condition, but high costs are still a barrier for many, including uninsured people facing high deductibles and co-payments. Well, finally, number 1, living with skyrocketing healthcare costs is one thing, but imagine dealing with that on top of living paycheck to paycheck. Well, this scenario is all too common for U.S. workers, 3/4 of whom scramble to cover their living costs. Whether it's poor budget skills, the slow-growing economy, or the fact that paychecks have been expanding at a microscopic rate for much of the recovery, 38% of the more than 3,200 full-time workers nationwide who took part in an online survey said they sometimes live paycheck to paycheck. These numbers are the latest findings released yesterday by job search firm CareerBuilder. Of workers who currently have a minimum wage job or have held one in the past, 66% said they couldn't make ends meet, and 50% said they had to work more than one job to do so. But just paying the bills isn't difficult only for low-income workers. Here's the head-scratcher. 9% of those earning $100,000 or more a year felt they usually or always live paycheck to paycheck, while 51% of those earning less than $50,000 annually met the description. CareerBuilder's poll found that even though most employers feel a fair minimum wage is $10 or more an hour, 48% said they're going to pay less than $10. Well, we don't operate news story to news story here on WCBI News Sunrise. We've got plenty of local news and national headlines that you should care about, and we give you those each morning. That's the type of wage you don't have to earn. We'll be right back after this.